Hey YouTube, how is it going today? Well, this video is going to be rather quick. I just want to go over some of our current positions and how they are performing. Then I want to show you some very nice looking tradable chart patterns that are poised to move higher. And then after that, of course, I want to get to a couple of your questions. Now, if you're new to my channel, I like to invest and trade in typically lower price stocks and talk about all other things finance related as well. If that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any future trading or investing ideas. But please remember, I am not a financial advisor, so please do all of your own research before investing in any of these stocks. Alright guys, well, I'm going to get right into the charts. I don't have a lot of time. I am already behind schedule, so I'm going to move through these rather quickly. First one I want to go over is 9 Meters Biopharma, ticker symbol NMTR. This one was actually brought to our attention by Julie from the Patreon. And as far as I know, she's still in it, or at least she better be still in it, because this is a beautiful chart pattern. It's not even pulling back to the 8-period exponential moving average, and it is already busting out to new highs. So it looks like it is entering that trend acceleration phase, and you never know how high these things are going to go when they get into that part of the trend, so you want to stick with them. And being that this one is a biotech, they tend to move just a little bit more than a normal stock, but if I back it out a little bit, you can see it's that perfect rounding bottom. I still have all the lines drawn on the chart, and it's a perfect rounding bottom, tons of volume coming in, so very healthy looking chart pattern at the moment. I think this one is poised to keep going. The next one I want to go over is CSLT. CSLT, I've actually been in this for several weeks. I've been patiently waiting for this breakout. It looks like it's finally starting to happen, or at least I thought it was. It's fooled me a couple of times, but it was near the high of the day when I started putting this video together, and it's pulling back just a little bit. Hopefully he'll end towards the high of the day, but if we back it out, you can see this beautiful rounded bottom formation that I love to see. Got plenty of volume coming up this side of it, and it looks like it could finally be busting out and starting to accelerate to the upside. So CSLT, in my opinion, is still right in that buy zone, so it's still a good buy. The next one I want to go into is another one that some of the guys are holding in the Patreon, USWS. This one is exploding today. It's up 29% at the moment, and it's pulled back halfway, so it was up a lot more than that. But some of these oil and gas stocks are absolutely exploding. If you guys haven't got into some of these lower priced oil and gas stocks, I think they're going to have a very favorable conditions going forward. I mean, we're not even into the summer months yet, and oil and gas is already starting to pick up steam. You can see gas prices going up all over the country, and that's most likely going to continue because the seasonality of gas usually goes up into the summer. So I think some of these oil and gas stocks are going to be getting an early start on the gains, and USWS is one of them that is already starting to take off. Tons of volume coming into it. So just a very nice looking pattern, getting a little bit extended, but it had that nice little hookup after holding on to that 8-period exponential moving average that we like to see. I don't know if I would be chasing it just yet, because these oil and gas stocks usually aren't super volatile, so you can usually be a little more patient on these. They tend to trend a little bit more, so if this thing kind of stays put or pulls back a little bit, that's what I would wait for on some of these oil stocks. But another oil stock I want to go over is GTE. We talked about this one, and this one is hooking up after catching that 8-period exponential moving average. It is pulling back like a lot of stocks today. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of my stocks in my portfolio are kind of blah. You know, they're kind of just hanging around. Some of them gapped up and they're pulling back. They're really kind of not going anywhere. So today is kind of like an inside day. I'll get to that a little bit later. But GTE is a very bullish looking chart pattern at the moment. Another one I want to go over that hasn't quite taken off, that is still in this sector, is HUSA, H-U-S-A. This one did have a reverse split not too long ago. But the way this market is performing, I am going to throw that rule out for the time being until it starts proving me wrong again, because I've been seeing that a lot of these are starting to work just because there's so much momentum in these lower price stocks. This one is actually just starting to hook up right now. It had this big up day about a week and a half ago, but it was kind of a fake out, but now it is starting to round back up. So as far as I am concerned, HUSA, Houston American Energy Corp, is right in the juicy part of the buy zone of a trend when it's just starting to get going. So in my opinion, HUSA is technically a buy right now. Let's go to the next one, which is INDO. INDO looks rather similar, and they are also in the oil and gas field, oil and gas sector, I should say. It's Indonesia Energy. If we back out a little bit, we can see they haven't been traded for too long, but they have been going sideways for many months, and they're just starting to bust out. I didn't check the news. I guess if you were going to buy into this stock, being that it hasn't been traded for that long, I would definitely go back and see what news caused this day right here, where it actually retraced back into the moving averages. But that didn't happen too long ago, so it would be important to know what that news was. But as far as the chart pattern goes, it is starting to hook up already. So in my opinion, it is pretty much in the buy zone as we speak. Let me get over to just one more before I get into the ones that we had on our buy list. VBIV looks very interesting. VBI Vaccines, they are also in the biotech sector. Very nice rounding bottom, and it's just starting to explode out of this 8-period exponential moving average. Today it is up about 7.5% at the moment, but just an absolutely beautiful chart. I mean, tons of nice volume coming in, and the price pattern is starting to hook up, getting into that trend acceleration phase. That's where you want to be in. You don't want to be hanging around while the stock is chopping around. You want to be in as many of these fast uptrends as you can if you're trying to make money, that is. But let me get into some of the ones that we were watching today. Some have worked out, some have not. INUV is one that I took a position on. Oh, and I actually left my drawings up. For the guys in the Patreon, I'll just take a picture of the chart and show them what I am thinking as far as a target and my stop limit, just in case they need a little guidance on where to place their stops. Most of the guys put their stops where they are comfortable with. This is where I was comfortable with taking this position. But it gapped up today. I got it at about $1.75. It's not getting a whole lot of follow through, but this pattern is working very well in the market lately. I don't know if you've been noticing these J-hook type patterns. Sometimes they work beautifully and sometimes they don't work at all. And we seem to be in a phase of the market where they are working pretty good. Let me get this stuff out of here real quick so we can see the pattern a little bit better. But they start pulling in and kind of like getting cradled by these moving averages, and then it like gives a nice little slingshot up. But these patterns are starting to work well, even though today is not a good indication of it. But another one that we were watching was NDRA, same type of pattern. I left those on there as well. Let me get those out of the way. Same type of pattern, have the big move up, and now it falls back into those moving averages. It gets cradled up, and then it starts to move up. Now, NDRA, I was in at $2.55, so it was actually below where I purchased it. But this is an inside day, and I've been seeing a lot of these today. These inside days are gifts for the most part. When a trend just starts to get going and it has an inside day, kind of pulls back, but it stays within the range of the previous day, especially if the previous day was a big up day, those are gifts. Those are pauses in the trend. That gives you a second chance to get in case you missed out on it. And a lot of times when a stock has an inside day, a lot of people won't just buy in that day, because usually after an inside day, wherever it opens up the next day, if it can open up to a new high the next day, then it's usually a green light for the trend to go back up. All systems are go. An inside day and then say a gap up in either direction is usually pretty predictive on where the next few days are going to be. So anytime you see a stock have an inside day like this, make sure you keep it on your watch list, because say if it gaps down, but it's probably going to have some follow through to the downside, because this is an indecision day. and there's kind of people waiting to make a decision. But if it gaps up to the upside, chances are, if people were waiting to get back in, they will take that as confirmation as the trend is probably going to continue higher, and then they will jump in. But that's just a little tip for inside days. I love inside days. A lot of times people see the inside days and they get kind of bored out of their minds because it's not doing anything. Trust me, inside days are gifts because they're very predictive on where the next few days are going to go. The other one that we had on our watch list for today, I don't think anybody took a position in BIOL, but it's basically doing the same thing. It gapped up and it's just pulling back a little bit and just hanging around. So I mean, a lot of the charts I'm seeing today are kind of blah. There's not a whole lot of decisions to be made. You're just kind of in watch mode. But another stock that we are holding is SYN. And this is another perfect example of an inside day. This is a gift in this breakout right here because it is holding the resistance area, so it's now support. It's holding above all those moving averages. And if this thing can start moving higher tomorrow, chances are it's going to have some follow through for a couple of days. Now, on the other hand, if it gaps down below the previous day's range, chances are this chart pattern is probably shot. So SYN is in a position or a part of the pattern right now that I would say is probably an add day. I'm in this stock right now and I'm considering adding a little bit more. And because I think this is going to follow through to the upside. So this day is kind of like a gift if you want to double down on your position a little bit if you're already up in it. But SYN is definitely an inside day. And another one that I put in, I believe yesterday's video or the day before, was WTI. Excuse me. Also having an inside day. It had that nice breakout. It's holding above the resistance area, which is now support, and it's trading pretty much within the previous day's bar. So this is an inside day. This is a pause in the uptrend. I'm thinking that this is probably not going to roll over if I had to guess. I'm thinking that this is probably another opportunity to get into this stock. And you got to remember, when a stock breaks out and it has an inside day, a hold, I mean, that's showing the strength. There's no sellers pouring into this market to take advantage of this price movement. Everybody's just kind of holding steady, and that is good news for the trend to potentially continue to the upside. A couple other stocks that I wanted to go over were ones, excuse me, in the MJ space, because I made a video on these last week. And I talked about how momentum was really starting to build up in a lot of these charts. And we can see that they have been exploding since that video. So if any of you guys got into some of these names that I was showing you, congratulations, because you are probably up a lot. CGC was a big mover. One that I featured on my video was OGI. And OGI is absolutely exploding, up another 28% on the day since this breakout and hold of that moving average. But I mean, it's just the same story with all of these MJ stocks. They are just all moving fastly higher, just rapidly higher. Another one we talked about was Sundial Growers. Sundial Growers is exploding higher today, up another 25%. I know a lot of you guys are into that one. Just a great looking stock at the moment. Another one that the guys on Patreon were talking about was ACB, and that one is exploding after that breakout, so they are doing pretty well in the Patreon. That one's up 7% at the moment just today alone. So some of those MJ stocks, you could just tell when they are starting to gain a lot of momentum. When you have a lot of stocks in that sector that are forming similar type patterns, it's just dynamite waiting to go off, because they're all waiting to explode higher. A couple other charts I'm going to show you real quick were some stocks. They're not penny stocks. They're a little out of my wheelhouse, but they are making very nice chart patterns. This one is XL Fleet. You can see XL Fleet is coming down to the 50-period simple moving average. Already held it once and is starting to carve out that nice rounding bottom. If you go intraday on these, you can start to see those bottoms just a little bit clearer. We can see it's starting to round up. I wouldn't say it's a buy point just yet. I mean, I would wait for it to bust above this recent resistance and then hold that moving average. But I bet as soon as it does it, it's probably going to get going to the upside rather quickly. So this one is going to be a tough one to catch, in my opinion. It could hang around, but I think it's going to be a fast mover. But one more I wanted to show you was, actually I have a couple more I want to show you. First one is open. So this is open door. This one is starting to form a very nice triangle consolidation at the highs. I still have that one drawn from before when it did break out. But as you can see, we are getting a rather similar pattern here at the moment. So I think open is poised to break out to the upside, poised to break into the upper 30s probably before too long, because this is a very healthy pattern and is starting to put a lot of pressure on that resistance area. We've had some decent volume coming in the last couple of days, even though 3 days ago was a red day. I still think it's a very bullish pattern. And the last one I want to show you is TWOU. This is another stock that ARK Invest. ARK Invest, of course, is in that previous stock open, but is also in this one, or at least it was last I checked. But TWOU, 2U Incorporated, we can see it's starting to form that very nice rounded bottom. You could probably call this a cup and handle if you wanted to, and it looks like it is just about ready to break to new highs. So TWOU is in a very, very beautiful pattern at the moment. All right, well, right now I want to get into a question. I had a question from Alex, and he asked me to look into PHUN. And looking into Funware Incorporated. This one is a $2.76 stock at the moment, and had a very nice rounded bottom, and then all that volume poured in. So this one's getting a little long in the tooth for me personally. But I mean, it was a beautiful pattern several weeks ago, and whoever bought into that after seeing this is reaping the benefits, because this thing is exploding higher on big volume. PHUN, I mean, the uptrend is still super healthy. It had this gap up yesterday, and today it's having an inside day. So if it can hang around up here till this moving average catches up, I mean, I think we could get another leg up in PHUN. So PHUN is one that's definitely worth putting on the watch list. So Alex, thank you for that one. Next question was from Aaron, I believe. That's how you say the name. He asked me to look into Genius Brands. Had a question on this one a couple days ago, and it's basically the same thing is going on. You had that huge update and then the immediate reversal, which I don't like, but it is starting to build that momentum again. I'm guessing this is probably going to have to go sideways a little bit longer. It's very, very rare that you see an explosion up, an immediate sell-off, and then soon after you get another big move up. Usually when you get a combination like these 2 days, it tends to go sideways for quite a while. Like here's a couple right here. They're not as big and the volume isn't as big, but it's the closest example on the chart. After you kind of get that, it needs to meander sideways for a little bit. I'm guessing this one's, if I had to guess, I would say this one's probably going to have to go sideways for at least another couple more weeks before it can start building up. Even though these last 2 days, I mean, it's been riding up this 8-period exponential moving average, so it is looking healthy, so I could be proven wrong. But typically, these tend to meander sideways. The last one he wanted me to look at was Vive, VIVE. And Vive just recently had a reverse split, a 1 for 10, so that's a little close for my comfort, actually way too close for my comfort, but I definitely like this chart pattern better than Genius Brands, even though this one is below that 200-period simple moving average. Usually when a stock is below that average, it takes a little bit to get above it, so it'll churn around, it'll churn a little bit before it can get above that moving average, so I tend to stay away. I wait for them to break above all those moving averages, so it's just one last thing they have to get above before they get going. But it's definitely an interesting looking chart pattern, because it has gone sideways for quite a while, and it did have this huge gap down. I don't know, that must have been probably bad earnings if I had to guess. I didn't look into it, but I don't know. It's starting to build up momentum pretty quick, and some decent sized volume is coming in. So I'm going to put Vive on my watch list and keep an eye on it, and I'll keep you posted if it makes a better looking chart pattern. But actually, Genius and Vive are probably not ones that I would be too interested in yet. But PHUN, if that one does hold those gaps up and hang around so that moving average catches up, I think that's a decent looking buy. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this one. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, please don't hesitate to leave them down there in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any future trading opportunities. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.